actual AI applications and products and services that are out there. So I welcome Terrence to the stage, and Tristan Gadsby from Alliance. Gadsby, I said that right? That's a little tough. Vijesh Yoganathan from Canary, and Eric Wong from Infor. So please come on up. And Terrence, you're all mic'd up. So we need that.
Like a mic, almost a mic drop.
There we go. All right. I'll get out of the way, and you can take it from there.
Thank you, David. We are the last session, and there's often a phrase, you leave the best till last. So let's hope we don't disappoint you. We are the session that's between now and lunch. So for the next 3 hours, I hope you're very comfortable in the room and you don't mind late lunch. The reason I say 3 hours is because this is a big subject, and when David was putting the conference together and he was asking me about what should we discuss, I said just AI. It's enough to cover a 2-day conference alone. So we're going to try to squash 3 hours into 44 minutes. So please bear with us. This is a hybrid session. The reason I say hybrid is because on my right, I have 3 vendors who, for about 10 minutes each, are going to give a presentation about what they are doing with AI as it relates to hospitality. And after that time, after they've given their presentations, we're then going to go into an open discussion which will pick up on the points that they've discussed and some other things that we have been talking about. So that's really how this session is going to play out. But if it's really great and we need 3 hours, then we'll just have to delay lunch. Okay. I have this works? Yes. Putting the session together, I wanted to sort of give an interpretation of what I think is AI in hospitality. When I say what I think AI in hospitality is, I went to 5 different AI systems, of which many of the logos are recognizable on this screen, to get them to make a mashup of what is the interpretation of AI in hospitality. So it came up and it said AI in hospitality simulates human intelligence, and we've talked about that quite a lot. And to automate tasks, personalize guest experience, optimize pricing, and enhance operations. I don't think there's anybody in the room that would disagree with that. And through chatbots, smart rooms, and of course predictive analytics, and I know we're going to be talking about some of that in a few moments, it should drive efficiency, boost satisfaction, actually boost guest satisfaction, and enables agile, data-driven service delivery across the guest journey. And that's really what we want to have, a much enhanced guest journey, leading to a happy guest, and as I used the phrase yesterday, a long finish, a positive experience when the guest leaves the hotel. And of course, a satisfied guest, and I don't want to talk too much, I was told I spoke too much yesterday, but when I have used that phrase, long finish, positive guest experience, it means that the guest who leaves your hotel becomes your best sales team. They go out, they post, they evangelize, they recommend you, and that generates on business to your property, no matter what it is. And so your guest is actually your best sales team, the rest of the people out there. Okay, so in order of sequence of sitting here, Tristan is going to kick off with his presentation, and I'm going to let you get up and get that. Tristan will lead off on his presentation about AI and hospitality. Tristan.
Good morning, Bangkok. How are we all? Yeah, good. Come on, low energy. Let's get going. So I'm not going to talk really about what AI could do. We heard all about that yesterday. What I'm going to try and give you is some actual results. We've been running AI now I've been running AI in production since 2017. So a very long time. This stuff has been around for a long time. In fact, the algorithms were actually invented in the 60s. So this is nothing new. What is new is we've got the processing power these days to make it near real time. And we talked about latency and the cost of latency. It is expensive, but it's actually very real. So I'm Tristan. I'm from London. I described my home actually as my suitcase earlier. I don't really have a home. I seem to travel around the world because I love this industry. I'm very lucky I get to go all over the place. I'm the CEO of Alliance. We're a guest experience platform. Some of you may have heard of us. If you haven't, delighted to explain what we do later on, but that's not why I'm here. I'm here to share some of the things that actually we do. So if we look at the timeline and I chose OpenAI as the example here. There are obviously other available chatbots and engines and LLMs, etc. But actually, ChatGPT first came out. ChatGPT 2 was sort of the first recognized LLM back in February of 19. So it's a long, long time. But it took us a little while to realize actually how powerful these models can be. And in fact, amazingly, this isn't actually a typo on the slide. These are the same headlines released by Forbes and then by Hospitality Network. This exactly the same headline in September of 23 and then January of 24. And that's when really I think hospitality got excited about what Gen AI could do for it and really starting to see some of the applications that came about. Now, you're going to talk about other types of AI. There are many other types of AI, but today we're just going to speak a little bit about Gen AI and what that can do. I think the first thing to say, and looking at the experience that we've had, it's all about having the right data foundations. If you don't have the right data, your AI is literally garbage in, garbage out. I'm sure many of you have heard that expression, but it is even more real in the world of Gen AI. So we think about it in terms of three things that you need to know, three bits of knowledge. So first of all, you need to understand the customer, but not just the lead booker. We are so guilty in this industry of just thinking about the lead booker. That is not actually your customer. Your customer is everyone that walks through the door of the hotel, whether they are a guest in the room, whether they're a patron in your restaurant, or whether they're coming to use the spa. They are all customers. So you need to understand the individual, not the booker. Secondly, you need to understand the context. Why are they here? What are they trying to do? What's their itinerary? If they've already got dinner booked, don't recommend them somewhere else to go to dinner. That's not what they need. You have to understand all about the guest, the itinerary, what is it they're trying to achieve with their trip. And then the other element is, when you're looking at Gen AI, it needs to understand the surroundings. It needs to understand the hotel, what time to check in, what time to check out, where do I find the pool, etc., etc. But also, the hotel is the gateway to your locale, to your environment. It needs to know about the area. So you need your models to also understand all about the situation that property finds itself. And that's all about understanding the surroundings. So if you do that, I'm probably going to get about 3 slides going through now. Where do I point? I point, oh, there you go, you see. Now it's always good. AI, let's go forwards, go backwards. There we go, I think I'm on the right slide now. You've also got to understand that AI is not one size fits all. So we're very lucky, we work with a lot of the very high-end brands. They don't want necessarily an AI response going straight to a guest. So your models have to be able to work not just in an auto response mode. You need to actually help the staff in their job. So suggested responses and everything else. The good news about that is AI models also know how good they are. They also know how confident they are in their response. So where you don't hit a confidence level, don't just send a response to a guest. So I've heard lots of people talk about putting the guardrails around AI. This is exactly what we mean. If your model is not confident on the response, do not just send it to a guest. These models do hallucinate, right? This is true, and I've seen so many examples, and then if you come and find me at the bar later, I'll tell you some of the examples that I've heard over the last number of years. It's really important to put the guardrails around it, and that's exactly what this does. So sometimes helping your staff be more efficient is better than just sending an automated response. So, but also, these models can also adjust their tone of voice. So every brand has a different tone of voice, but every locale, so in Hawaii, aloha, how should you greet your guests? You can train your models to do all of these things. And it's really important to understand how you get to that sort of level. I don't know whether it's working or not. Who knows? Next slide, please. There we go. We'll see if AI works on this one. There we go. Your models also need to cater for lots and lots of different scenarios. So this is data from our engine. We called it Alan, actually. Alan, in tribute to Alan Turing, obviously the Turing test that we heard earlier from Liz. Really, really important test to see whether you're actually dealing with humans or not. So we tag all of the conversations that come into our solution and what are they about. So things like time and date, that's what time is breakfast, what time is checkout, all those sorts of things. So you can see all the different categories that people are asking questions. We've also got data behind this that says how well are our AI engines doing at answering some of these queries, and they're a lot better at some things than others. So, but also that tells you where you need to train them. So how do you educate the model? How do you give it more information so that you can answer more queries for you, and your staff can then spend their time doing what staff do best, which is delivering hospitality, and that's what it's really all about. Trying again. I would have been 5 minutes, but it's... So, but actually with all of that, what does it lead to? So the good news is you can make your staff way more effective. So we run chat, and we've been running chat since 2017. We launched it with Four Seasons as the first hospitality chat application. With AI, you can drastically reduce the response times to guests. So the median response time drops by over a half. So this is live data from the last 2 years of using AI in production. So you can see how dramatic the effect is of how quickly you can respond to guests' queries, guest requests, guest booking requests, all the things that they might ask you as they come in. What's also interesting though is that you can actually, AI models also improve the sentiment scores of those conversations with the guests. Some of that obviously is down to the fact that responsiveness is definitely a driver of satisfaction. We know that guests want everything now. That's exactly what happens, but you can see that actually you can really drive up sentiment by using these models. If you get the guardrails wrong, I can tell you those scores drop pretty quickly. So that's part of the learning that we've had over the last couple of years, is making sure you really understand where those guardrails are and where you can try and make sure you tune the models to help you. But hopefully, we've talked a lot about what AI can do for you. It's already doing it today. AI is already here. It's being used in lots and lots of places. Hopefully, that's giving you a little insight into some of the data that we've seen over the last couple of years. I encourage you all to embrace it. I look at my staff these days, and if they're not using AI in their day-to-day jobs, I really question, what they're doing. It's here to help us. It can't do everything itself, but it is an amazing tool, and we should all try and embrace it. Thank you very much. And with that, thank you.
Thank you. Great presentation. Interesting. For those of you who I haven't met yet, my name is Eric Wong, and I'm the Vice President for Infor Hospitality for Asia Pacific. So today, when Terrence and David, when we spoke, and this is my first time speaking at HTNG, and hopefully I'll be able to come back after this. We wanted to talk about how we at Infor or Infor Hospitality is using AI to push our applications and to help our customers. And I wanted to introduce you to our Cloud Suite products. And before we go there, I think it was Michael from Peninsula who talked about this. We shouldn't have tech driving business. We should have business driving tech. So I want to kind of share with you what our goals are and what we're trying to accomplish as a company. We wanted to help our customers and empower our users to make better and more intelligent decisions. So some of you might know we have a whole host of solutions in hospitality. We have front of the house and we have back of the house. And what I would like to share with you is how we use AI in our applications, within our applications, and how we deliver that capability to the end customers, to you and to the hotels. And when we look at AI, there's really three things that we really focus on. One is how we help the customer, you as a hotelier, make better decisions. The second one is how can we make things more efficient through automation, through simpler processes. And then the third one is how the end users will be interacting with our solutions. So from a front of the house perspective, I think some of you know we have a property management solution, we have sales and event management, and we have point of sale. What we've been doing over the last few years is we've been sending this information on a real-time basis to our data lake. And through the data lake, and we're using AI to provide real-time analytics to our customers. And through these models, we're providing insights to the customers, and through our revenue management solution, which is an AI-powered solution, to provide forecasting and optimization capabilities to the customer. Now, you might say, well, all revenue management solutions, that's pretty much the same thing. What does AI mean in the revenue management solution perspective? So I'll share with you in the legacy solution, in a legacy environment, let's say you look at comp sets. A revenue manager may look at, oh, I have 5 or 10 hotels within my area in my comp set. Under an AI-based solution, what we're doing is we're looking at hotels around the whole area. That might be 50 hotels, that might be 100 hotels. And we can identify which hotels have a higher impact on your pricing, on your demand. And we can highlight these hotels for the revenue manager to make the decisions, to make better decisions. So that's one example on how we use AI to help the end users make better decisions. And then we look at efficiencies. How can we use AI to be more efficient? So a good example is we have our revenue management solution. And usually when we do implementation, a lot of people have to do mappings, like room rates, room categories, and all that. We're now using AI to do the mapping. So from an implementation and configuration perspective, it's using a lot less time, and it translates to a lot lower cost of ownership for you as a hotelier to own and use our solution. Now, on the third one, in terms of how we use Gen AI. So this is like on the front of the house. I'll mention a little bit on the back of the house in terms of financials, how we use AI in our solution. So we're building, we have two solutions in the financial management side. We have Sun Systems, which a lot of hotels know, and we have a performance management solution called EPM. So on the performance management solution side, we are using Gen AI to create different scenarios. So the financial accountants, which I'm an accountant by training, we can look at different scenarios very easily and say, okay, well, what's the financial impact if demand goes down by a certain percentage, if demand goes up by a certain percentage. So generating forecasts and all that, it becomes a lot simpler and a lot faster. And I hope this gives you a little peek into what AI is doing within our industry and within our solutions. And this is only the tip of an iceberg. We see a lot more applications and real life applications that we can bring to you as a hotelier in terms of what we can deliver through AI. So with that, I'll pass the time to Josh.
I think I'm moving in the wrong direction.
Has a mind of its own.
Hi everyone, my name is Vijesh. I'm the Regional Director for Asia Pacific at Canary. While Canary is a global company, we do have a regional team dedicated to APAC out here. I personally am based in Singapore. Now, of course, we've all been hearing about the impact of AI in hospitality. This is a very quickly evolving space, which makes it a very exciting time to be part of this. And I'm very happy to be here today to talk a little bit about the impact this is having on hospitality right now, right? So for those of you who are not familiar with Canary, we do work with thousands of hoteliers worldwide. Ultimately, the solution is very flexible. So this is not an exhaustive list of our customers, but it's a customizable solution. It can be used and adapted to fit various use cases and brand requirements. Next slide, please. I don't know if I'm doing this or the guys in the back are, but yeah, let's hope. So Canary is ultimately what we do. We are a one-stop solution provider. We provide a guest experience platform to hotels, and therefore you're able to communicate with your guests all the way from pre-arrival throughout the journey with you to post-departure as well. As you can see, we have many solutions, but they're all best in class, and they work really seamlessly together to improve the operational efficiencies for your property, as well as to drive incremental revenue. This is just a snapshot of our full list of solutions. For the purpose of today's presentation, of course, I'm going to really focus on Canary's AI solutions, which really powers through the entire platform that we have. So what is AI in hospitality? How can it help? Taryn spoke about this in maybe a little bit more detailed technical term, but I want to cover it in a more anecdotal way with this group. And basically, research shows that up to 71% of travelers, they prefer mobile touchpoints nowadays. That highlights a key trend, which is essentially that people don't want to talk to people anymore, especially not strangers, and definitely not after a long flight. But at the same time, when they do engage with the hotel, they want responses instantly. So essentially, convenience is really the luxury that everyone is after. On the other side, personalization is no longer exceptional. It's a baseline requirement. Guests don't just want to be hotel room numbers. They want to have personalized experiences that are catered to their needs and preferences. So the good news is AI is able to address these growing guest demands without the hotel having to invest in huge number of staff or complex multiple systems to be able to meet these demanding needs from travelers. So I'm just going to cover a couple of these terms to make sure we're aligned as we talk a bit more about AI. I think we all know what AI is in general. We know that it's where computers can take really massive amounts of data and it can analyze it, contextualize it, but also then put various actions in place. So automations based on that data without any human intervention. So that was really great. But then we have natural language processing. So this is where computers and AI, it actually began to really understand what was being said to it just from basic human communication. It can have typos, it can be grammatically incorrect, it can be different languages, but it's able to understand and actually respond. Of course, this is based on the LLMs it's trained on and so far, but it's actually able to understand and respond in a way that a human would as well. So this is gone are the days where a chatbot would look for a keyword and then pull a whole chunk of text and put it out, which used to create so much frustrations for any of us that had the misfortune of talking to a chatbot before. But with NLP, that's why, thanks to this, AI can now be even empathetic or humorous because it's understanding the input and then responding in a relevant way. And this is what helps with hospitality to provide that seamless guest experience that we're looking for. Generative AI is, of course, where now computers can take all that input, not just automate actions, but come up with custom responses as well as solutions to problems without it having to be programmed in. So that's really where it's starting to free up our time to focus on areas that actually needs the human touch, especially in hotels. So we did a survey, it was a worldwide survey of purely hospitality professionals. One big thing we did find out is that up to 73% of hospitality professionals and decision makers, they truly believe that AI will have a significant and transformative impact on the hospitality industry. This was a lot from decision maker level, so GMs, CEOs, but also interestingly from HR, so not just IT, but everyone's starting to see that it's going to have an impact. And which are the top 3 areas that we're going to see that impact on? So guest engagement, I think up to 80% felt that guest engagement is an area that AI can have a true and immediate impact on. Then we have increasing revenue, so revenue management itself, which Eric touched upon earlier, and even reputation and review management, which Tristan spoke about, because we know that having positive review and all that can have a very positive impact on your average rates. Upselling is another area that AI can help with increasing revenue. And then your operational efficiencies. So all the way from automating your housekeeping, your maintenance workflows, to even helping with fraud detection. These are all areas that AI can have a real and immediate impact on. Now, all of these 3 areas are of key focus for us at Canary. So what we've done is we've actually built a hospitality-specific AI platform, and one that works on a single unified dashboard. So it allows you to communicate and engage with guests across different channels as well as mediums. Now you might ask, what's so special about a hospitality-specific platform? Well, the main difference is that a generic AI platform requires heavy customization. And I think that's where a lot of brands are seeing AI from, and it feels like it's going to take a long time to execute it and implement it because you're going to have to train it and engage with it and improve on it. Whereas when you go with a vertical provider like any of us, we are already in the industry, we've already done that heavy lifting. So then a vertical industry-specific AI platform is very quick to deploy. You can have that immediate impact because a lot of the context is already built in. Next, a single unified dashboard. So a single AI model that works across different tools, it really benefits because it starts having deeper insights. It's learning constantly from different aspects that's feeding it, and therefore it's able to have a lot more consistency in its replies as well, and a much more seamless guest experience. So just a couple of examples of where AI can immediately have an impact and what we're doing at Canary. Web chat. So AI web chat. We've all, I think, read about how AI is going to have a really big impact on traveler research and booking experiences. And there's a lot of speculation that the OTAs are going to be leading the way in this area just because of the heavy investments they are already making in this space. The good news, again, when you're working with hotel-specific or vertical AIs, that doesn't have to be the case. So it can be deployed quickly, and even on your own brand website, what we do is we can help with the travel research during the pre-booking research stage of the guest journey. And then post-booking, we're able to support that as well. And then there's guest messaging. So being able to directly message your guests and then communicate with them, this can have such a huge impact on your team, taking away that mundane, repetitive tasks that they're facing. Let's be honest, any one of us when we're checking in at a hotel, we're constantly seeing someone picking up the phone and telling guests the check-in time is at 2 p.m. They probably say that 200 times a day. It doesn't matter if you have it on the website, if you email, people still keep calling, it's just human behavior. So when you remove that mundane tasks, it frees your team up to actually focus on that high value human touch that you want to provide at your hotels. And that's what we're able to do. At the moment, our AI is responding to up to 85% of guest inquiries, but you're also able to train and improve it, right? So that's what you constantly need to do. So we have a property-specific knowledge base where your team's able to go in and create new contacts and prompts and answers as well. And of course, AI does translations for over hundreds of languages. And ours also works as a upselling engine. So because it's part of that same platform, when someone asks what time is check-in or check-out, as you might have seen from this little video that's looping, it won't just say check-ins at 2 p.m., it will say early check-ins available, it's at $25, do you want to add that in? So these are all the different things that AI can do very seamlessly to really engage with the guest and give a very personalized, almost human experience. One little anecdotal thing, we've actually built in a slight delay. So when someone messages the hotel, there's actually a delay and it feels like someone took the time to reply. So it doesn't feel like a computer is engaging with you. And then AI voice. So we did find in our research that up to 40% of calls to the front desk can go unanswered at a hotel, especially during peak check-in and check-out times. And this is very concerning because a third of these calls are usually to make a booking or an inquiry that's going to lead to a booking. So we've actually launched an AI voice assistant that can answer the questions answer the phone and actually speak to the guests. So I'm going to move ahead a little quicker because I do have a video to play. Can you go to the next slide and play that video, please? This is a snippet of a conversation with my team and Iva, who is our voice agent.
Hi, good afternoon. This is Iva at the Hotel Statler. How can I help you? Hi, I'm traveling soon for work and wondering, do you guys have a business center? Yes, we have a state-of-the-art business center equipped with modern amenities to help you stay productive during your stay. Wonderful, and it looks like there's probably going to be some good weather. Do you also have a pool? Yes, we have a heated outdoor pool and a hot tub for you to enjoy. Okay, great. Can we go ahead and make a reservation? I'd be happy to help with that. Can I get the dates of your stay? Sure. Arriving on September 10th and leaving on September 12th. How many adults and children will be staying in this room? Just one adult. Excellent. And which type of room would you like? We have a standard room, a deluxe room, a suite, and a double room. A standard room is fine. Would you like breakfast included? It's an additional $20 per day. Yeah, that would be great actually. Thank you. The total cost for your stay in a standard room with breakfast included is $390. Do you have a rewards member ID with us? I do. It's 32169AB. Thank you, Kathy Lamba. I see you have a credit card on file for this account. Would you like to use it for this booking, or would you like to provide a different credit card? Let's use the one on file. Your room is reserved and your confirmation number is Y82S. Is there anything else I can help you with? No, I think that's it. Thank you. My pleasure. Have a great day.
So yeah, that was a little longer than I expected it to be, but you would have seen several use cases there. That was firstly an AI and a person talking. I'd love to know if you could identify who was who. And then it was able to recognize the guest based on their loyalty number, do upselling, confirm the reservation, and all of it that done without any human intervention at all. It's also able to support your call center, so if you want to take bookings across hotels, that's possible. Yeah, and that was the voice AI.
Hi, good afternoon.
Can we go to the next slide?
Statler. How can I help you? Hi.
Yeah, so that does bring me to the end of my presentation. Like Tristan said, and we did not coordinate this, but AI is really, it's happening now in hospitality. I think there are a lot of people who want to wait and see where this goes and develops, but it's happening now and it's already problem solving and a very effective tool to have in place. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
So thank you to my panelists for their presentations, and now that's given you a little more insight into use cases for AI in hospitality. I think, excuse me, we saw two elements of it. We saw from Eric's presentation how it's working with the operations part of the hotel. Let's say the back of house type of things like this, assisting management, assisting the team to do their jobs or their tasks more effectively. And then the other two presentations from Tristan Vijesh, we saw how it's handling the guest experience. So putting the two things together, we're seeing the whole enhancement of the guest journey from start to finish. But a couple of things I just want to ask questions about on the front of house side and the guest experience. I noticed that you are handling a lot of guest queries. And I kind of wonder why there are so many queries. I know that when you check into a hotel, there's somebody behind the desk saying, let me explain this and let me explain that, and then you think, God, let me just get to my room already. And then when someone takes you to their room, they say, can I explain the things in their room? And they may take 5 minutes trying to say, this is where the minibar is, and this is how you work the fridge, and all this kind of thing. So it's kind of like, if they don't tell you that, then you've got all these queries of what, so where is the balance between that? Where do we balance between the proactive part and the reactive part? And the question is that is the operation learning from these queries that you're capturing the volume, like time and date, I think was one of the things that you picked up on. Are you going back then to the operation and say, we're getting these X amount of time and date queries, maybe during your check-in process or somewhere, you could be a little bit more proactive to tell people that breakfast is between 6 and 11. Is that something that's happening?
Totally. I mean, if you look at what's happening in a number of our customers, they're actually learning from the queries and actually changing SOPs to, reflect. We need to tell people about breakfast because people clearly don't know. But actually, it's convenience. At the end of the day, it's about convenience. You've got to be where your guests are. And these days we know, the top 3 downloaded apps for the last number of years have all been messaging apps. That's just how people behave these days. So you need to be present where your guests are and where they ask the queries. So I think there's a combination of, yes, you can be a bit more proactive. Particularly in luxury, we talk about, being anticipatory about the way you deliver service. And there is absolutely a certain amount of that. And we use AI to actually proactively message customers, about things that are upcoming or, so that you can try and get ahead of things. But at the end of the day, how much do you really remember? I'm getting old these days, I don't remember everything. So, my personal favourite use case though is always lying in bed at about 10:30, texting the front desk going, can I please have a late checkout? So that's my favourite use case.
I just wonder with this prevalence now of AI that we have, I mean before AI we had Google, okay? Before Google we had the library. And so have we become more inquisitive rather than being told? Is that an attitude that we as humans have adopted because of AI? Do we go out and ask rather than be told?
I think if you look at Gen Z, the answer to that would be yes. They are very inquisitive. They deal with technology in the world around them in a very, very different way. So my short answer to that would be yes, they are more inquisitive, and it's more, they want things on demand right now. And so having the infrastructure, to deal with that is actually really important. So
it's more random as well.
Exactly.
I'd like to jump onto the first question as well about training and going back to the hotel. I think what's interesting to note as well is we do of course take that insights and make sure that the hotel knows what IOs when they ask questions and making sure the prompts are there. But it doesn't always just go back to training the front office staff because you only have so much time at check-in to engage with the hotel, and there are so many questions. And again, like I said, people don't necessarily want to stand around and speak to your front office staff as well. So I think it's about taking that training and insights, but also putting it in the right channels and at the right time of the guest journey. So automating that process, making sure that the AI support is made available to the guest at the right time, post-booking, pre-arrival. And then to the second question as well, are people asking more questions? Yes, they are. So they're able to ask that from their own device. They might not even know they're engaging with an AI, but all those questions and answers is not just training the staff, but making sure it's taught to the AI so it's able to answer it, but with that right tonality, with your brand presence and all of that in there as well.
So since we've been through a huge transformative exercise a few years ago with COVID. It changed everything. Okay, it was probably since the inception of the steam engine, probably that was our biggest thing. Has that facilitated part of this? Have we become more QR oriented? I mean, in the rooms here, there's a dice on the table there that's got like 8 QR codes that you can look up everything. I just wonder, maybe Eric, you have a comment on that?
Yeah, I want to share with you actually a real life example. And I don't think, even though I've been in tech for many years, I don't think tech can replace the human touch. So I share this example with you guys, and I don't know whether anyone from Hilton is in the room. Last week I was on a vacation in China. We stayed at a Conrad outside of Chengdu. My wife took a tumble when we were walking down the slope to dinner, and she sprained her ankle, everything. And on our way out, the front office manager said to me, "Oh, where are you going?" I say, "Oh, I'm going to Chengdu." And he asked very casually, "Where are you staying?" I say, "Well, we're staying at the Temple House, which is one of our clients." And when we checked into the Temple House, what's the welcoming gift? It was some oils, some sprays for my wife's ankle. This is not something AI can do for you. This is human touch and thoughtfulness. So I think even though AI is here, I think for the most part in our hospitality industry, it's the people that would still matter the most.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely augmentation, not replacement. It's not a matter of man versus machine. It's about, like I said during my presentation, you're really just trying to free up your staff time, because then they can go out there and actually put that human touch and put that level of service you want.
Okay, when you guys, and I use that phrase, you're salespeople, all right? Let me just pigeonhole you there for a moment. Unlike the tech users, you go out and you are promoting what you do. Are you promoting, saying this is what our solution can do because of all these features and functions inside, or are you saying this is what our AI can do? Are you leading first with the AI part, or are you just saying this is how we can help your operation?
Not at all. There's a reason I shared real data. Right? So this stuff has been in production for a long time. So this is not about me selling anything. It's actually, that's real data of how the queries are coming in. This is what your guests are asking. So I think we're in a very fortunate position now. We have way more intelligence about what guests are asking, what queries they have, what support they need. And I completely agree with Eric. It is about supporting staff, right? This is a tool for staff to help them deliver a better hospitality experience. And we talk about, putting guardrails around it, but that's for a reason, because, for all the will in the world, technology is good, but at the end of the day, it's ones and zeros. It doesn't really understand. Although these models are trying to develop emotional connections, Bajesh, you said it exactly right. Machines don't develop emotional connections in the same way that humans do. So, enabling your staff in a much better way is the key to all of this. And you know, that's the slide I put up about, you know, different modes. AI has to operate in different modes. You know, I've seen some horrific examples of, you know, AI generated responses going out to customers. In fact, I once had the pleasure of going to pitch to a customer, and the presentation before got thrown out because it insulted the brand, you know, before us. Yeah, but that's about putting the guardrails around it. Having things like suggested responses or helping staff generate requests. Those are the sorts of things that actually really do help you deliver a much better hospitality experience.
I think there's a good and bad feeling about AI. And there's some people say, this is great, this is going to help us, but there's also the element of it, I'm a bit apprehensive about it because I really don't know what it's going to do. So you're doing more solution type of motion selling.
We have a brand that publicly went out and said that they would never use AI.
Right.
In the background, they've been using AI for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, we were running that for them. The point is, though, you didn't know because actually it was delivered in such a way that it was empowering staff and not actually, you know, being right in front of the guests where they expect it. So, you know, and it's been around for a long time, and people should not be afraid of it.
We are running out of time, or we have run out of time. And I'm getting a kind of few looks.
You said it was 3 hours.
I know, I did say 3 hours, and I'm just going to take a little bit of liberty, if they don't mind, because yesterday I finished exactly on time. So I'm going to use just a couple more minutes if it's okay. When staff or associates or whoever now are interacting with these systems, how are they changing? I mean, when before you sat, you just did command prompts or whatever. How is that morphing? It's about, maybe Eric has some comments here.
So nowadays with Gen Z especially, like, you know, a lot of our solutions now have like the capability of, like, you just ask the system. So for example, like if you want to see your forecast over the next 2 weeks, like you can just type in, or just using voice, you'd be able to, you know, generate that. So from a training perspective, it's fantastic. Like using natural language processing, we can process anything. And also from a support perspective, even though like a lot of our users won't even know it's AI behind it, like from a support perspective, they can go to a chat box, and they can type in. So for example, we have customers in Japan and different countries. They can type in their own language, and our support team can respond in, let's say, English, and it's translated real time in Japanese, whatever language, back to the users. So those are like, you know, things that, you know, people don't even realize, like Tristan was saying, but it's all AI driven. So, you know, the way that people interact with the solutions is different. And I often use my son's, like my son is 11 years old, and he doesn't use a keyboard because he doesn't need to. He can find everything, anything on YouTube, whatever, without using a keyboard. So that's our next generation.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So I think you and I were in a session before where we talked about this interaction, right, with the systems. And we talked about being behind the front desk, and the clerk behind the front desk would say, checking Mr. Wong. But then, you know, I think we also did touch on the point that maybe there are some comments that we want to key into the guest profile about Mr. Wong that we don't necessarily want to vocalize in front of Mr. Wong because they may be, you know, not so nice. They might be a little bit derogatory from there. So I think I have to wrap up now because I know that probably people are anxious to go. But there is, and I thank you all for this great session, but there is one short video that I want to run. Some of you in the room may have seen it before. You know, it's always been a thing about the internet that the biggest use of the internet is to show videos about cats. And I think that was from day one, that there were more videos about cats on the internet than anything else. So we're going to have a little cat video. But the reason I want to show this, apart from the fact that the cat looks like one of my cats, which I miss, is the fact that it's AI generated, okay, and it's fun to watch. It's AI generated. It is cats, and it talks of, and it refers to the hospitality industry that we all know dearly and love. So just give me 1 second, and hopefully the magic of technology will allow me to show you this video. There is no sound. Sorry. I should have put some sound on it. I know I'll be told off about that. But this is a great use of the billions of dollars which have been invested into AI, and all those hundreds of thousands of GPUs that are working in the background, and all the energy and the water and all those things that are being consumed to produce this video. It's wonderful to see how that investment has paid off in generating a cat video specifically for hospitality. And that is one happy cat enjoying his lunch. So thank you very much, everybody. I'm going to hand back to David, who's probably going to have a wrap up for a few seconds. And thank you.
Thanks to our last panel